It's Wolf, and it's the 900 subscriber shareholder update video. I've been really excited to make this video because normally I make these videos like really soon after I hit a subscriber goal, but this one was a bit delayed because I had a bit of a sore throat. It wasn't that bad. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later on in the video, but had a sore throat for like a week, so wasn't able to make the video, but wrote down like a ton of notes about things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to talk about stuff with the channel, stuff with the real life, just a whole ton of different things. So firstly, 900 subscribers. That means 900 times, actually 903 right now as I record this audio, people have decided to click on the subscribe button and not later unsubscribe. So thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for watching the videos and stuff. Alongside 900 subscribers, this channel has over 350,000 views. So that's a lot. That's I say this every time I make one of these videos, but I know that like sometimes numbers like that don't seem that big on YouTube because there's people that get millions of views and have millions of subscribers and stuff. But when you think about 900 or 350,000, that's a huge number. So thank you guys for all the just support in general on the channel, all the times you've watched the videos, all the times you left comments, liked stuff, everything. 900 subscribers is also the last stop before 1,000 subscribers, and 1,000 subscribers has been the goal that I've had on the channel pretty much since the beginning. There's a little bit of history with the 1,000 subscriber goal, and I've told it before, but I don't think I've really explained it in a while, and I think some of the videos where I've talked about it before are ones that I've deleted. So the abridged version of it is that back when I started this YouTube channel, there was not any strict requirements to become a member of the YouTube partner program, so you just had to apply and then hope that you could get approved and you can monetize your videos. So back when I started this channel, I wasn't 18 yet, and I wanted to apply to the partner program, but you had to be 18 to do so. So I had to wait till my 18th birthday, which was like a couple months away around the time that I started this channel. I started it when I was 17, and then just a few days before my 18th birthday, a few days before I was going to finally apply for the partner program, YouTube announced that they were putting in place more strict requirements for the partner program. So it was 1,000 subscribers and I think 3,000 or 4,000 watch hours. I know it's 4,000 now and I don't think that has changed. But anyway, so they announced this and it kind of sucked because, you know, I was about to apply for the partner program, but they weren't going to implement those changes for a little while, so I still had time. So my 18th birthday rolled around, I applied to be in the partner program, actually got accepted even though they were going to be changing the rules, and I was in the partner program for like, I want to say a couple months or so. I didn't really make any money off of it, but I remember I made 1 cent that was supposedly from YouTube Red somehow. That was even without having that many views on my videos or that many videos in general or anything, so I thought it was pretty cool. And then sure enough, eventually got an email from YouTube that was like, hey, actually your account doesn't meet our new requirements. But anyway, that's the summary of why the 1,000 subscriber goal. They actually have changed it now, so you can do some stuff at 500 subscribers, but you still need to hit a certain amount of watch hours, which I still don't have either. Either way, 1,000 subscribers has been the main goal. Now, I don't know when the channel will hit 1,000 subscribers because subscriber amounts can bounce around a lot. There's been times where I've jumped up by 100 subscribers in a really short amount of time. There's been times where it's taken a while. It's especially kind of hard to tell with my channel because sometimes I'll have a video that blows up and I gain a bunch of subscribers from it, or sometimes I'll make a bunch of videos that almost nobody watches. So I don't know. But regardless, I've been trying to think of stuff to do when we do hit 1,000 subscribers. I know one idea that I've talked about before that I definitely want to do is explaining the Todd and Thomas socks. If you've ever watched one of my videos where I show something in real life, you'll notice I have socks that have googly eyes on them that I wear on my hands. And I want to do a video explaining that because I've never actually explained it. And there is actually a good amount of lore there and kind of like some personal story stuff. So I think that would be a good video. Eventually, I think maybe I want to do a draw my life type of video. I don't know if people really do those anymore, but to be honest, there's so much real life stuff that has happened outside of this channel that I feel like is important to explain sometimes, because whenever I go to talk about anything from my real life, there's so much lore that leads to literally everything I talk about, and I just think that would be an interesting video. But there's been some other similar types of videos that I've thought about before too, like maybe doing one where I talk about like my setups over the years or like my current setup, things like that. So if you have anything in particular that you think would be cool to see, let me know and I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do it for 1,000 1,000. Maybe I'll do it for some future goal. We'll see. So alongside literal number stuff, I also wanted to use part of this video to just talk about this year so far and tell you guys what I've been up to in real life and also stuff related to the channel, all that kind of thing. So this year I've been doing like a lot of catching up in a lot of ways, and last year I was too, but it's kind of different. Like last year I was doing a lot of catching up with like major things, like, you know, I was in the UK for a year for grad school before that, and then I got back home and I needed to go to like doctor's appointments and dentist appointments and a lot of things like that. I had to go visit some family that I hadn't seen in forever. I had to get like my first car, all that kind of thing. This year there's been a lot of like smaller catching up to do, and so the thing is, like, ever since 6th grade, so like a really long time ago, I feel like my life has always been really busy, and there's been a lot of times where it's not really been under my control, like how I like dedicate my time in each day, because it was like 6th grade through 12th grade school. I had tons of homework. I've never really understand why I had so much homework, but trust me when I say I had like ridiculous amounts of homework and just schoolwork to do throughout middle school and high school. So like, you know, I fell behind with so much stuff with just like organizing myself, like my video game collection and stuff. Even back then, like I never had the time to like figure out where I was going to put things to keep it all organized and stuff. And then after that I went to college, and it was kind of the same thing, was busy all the time with that, and then wasn't even physically at home because I was college campus, and then had a crappy kitchen job after that before I went to grad school, and then that job kept me busy all the time, so still didn't really have any time to myself. And then went to grad school, and in grad school I had a lot of time to myself, but I was in a literal different country, so like I didn't really get to do anything with all the stuff that I owned or like anything like that because it was all back here. So long story short, there's been like multiple years where I've just kind of, it's mostly that I've just like accumulated stuff. I bought video games, I bought movies, I bought books, things like that, and I've just never had the time to like go through any of it and organize any of it and things like that. And so I've been spending a lot of time this year doing that. Like I actually have finally truly organized my video game, movie, book, CD collections into mostly sensible, like, I have everything in totes, okay? Like it all makes sense to me. I know where stuff is now, and it's easy for me to find things, and I've got it all written down, and I've got it like in like a it's not like a database, but kind of is like a spreadsheet where I can like search to see if I own something and even kind of guesstimate like when I bought it and where I have it and stuff. So there's that. I've been getting rid of a lot of old stuff, like clothes. I accumulated so many clothes over the years that just I never went through any of them to get rid of any of them or anything. So this year has been a lot of that. And then within the past few months in particular, I've also been trying to finish every single media item that I started and didn't finish. So on streams I talked quite a bit about how I was trying to finish reading the book Julian Comstock. That took me a long time to do. There was a couple of like TV shows I had started watching on Blu-ray, finished those. There was a couple games I had started, finished those. Just finished replaying Death Stranding the other day, again, before I played Death Stranding 2, and that was kind of like the last game I had started and not finished recently, which, good God, that game is so long. I forget how long that game was. So did that, and then right now I'm on kind of like the last step of all of the like finishing stuff that I never finished, which is going through my Netflix list, and that has actually taken quite a while because there was a ton of stuff on Netflix I had started watching and never finished. I think in total, between like the couple of shows that I have left on there, there's like 30 hours of stuff that I need to watch until I'm actually finished with all that, which still might take a while, but is far less than when I started. And I know it may sound kind of silly to like put so much focus into like watching TV shows and stuff, and even some of like my real life friends and family and stuff, they've been like, you keep talking about, you know, you want to do all this stuff, and like, yet here you are just watching Netflix all day. And it's like, dude, trust me, like I'm just trying to clear my mind. So that's part of what I've been doing. That's also part of why I've not been making a ton of videos lately, is just because I'm trying to really clear every list, every like to-do list that I have before I get working on anything too crazy new. But anyway, I don't want to spend too long talking about all that. I think I made my point. I also wanted to talk about this past year some health stuff that I have like figured out pretty much. So a while ago, and I've talked about a lot of this on stream if you watch my streams, so some of this may sound familiar, but a while ago I went to my doctor because my stomach was just feeling kind of off, and I was a little confused because she actually sent me to a sleep specialist, which I didn't really understand how those connected. But long story short, after seeing the sleep specialist and doing a at-home sleep apnea test, I found out that I actually have mild sleep apnea, which is, there's a number, it's called an AHI. It's how many times you stop breathing when you're asleep per hour. Mine is 7.5. Normal is 5 and below, so I have 2.5 above normal, which is really, really mild, to be honest, but I do think it was affecting me because I ended up getting a mandibular adjustment device for it, which pretty much moves where my jaw is when I sleep. So that way, pretty much like I'm not gonna stop breathing when I sleep. And there's a lot of the time sleep apnea is also treated with a CPAP machine. There's a chance that I may have to get one of those too, depending on how this mandibular adjustment device works in the long term. But I will say, sleep apnea wasn't affecting me like a ton. But after I got the mandibular adjustment device and started using it, I could tell that there was a difference. Like, I definitely have been feeling more awake, so I do think it was affecting me. And since sleep apnea messes with how much sleep you're getting, and in turn, not getting enough sleep or not getting enough good quality sleep messes with the rest of your body, I think that actually getting the sleep apnea treated has helped my stomach a lot, actually. My stomach is not feeling nearly as bad as it was. The only thing that has sucked about this, alongside the fact that it's kind of a long drive to the sleep specialist I've been seeing, is that the mandibular adjustment device was almost $3,000. Now, I do have pretty good insurance through my work, but that's one of those things that insurance doesn't necessarily cover, and it can go either way. I've heard before that you can kind of like fight with your insurance about getting it covered or whatever, but long story short, the way my insurance works, it's better for me to just pay for it, and then if I do have to get a CPAP machine still, the insurance should cover that, and like I should have less issues with that and just let them cover that. So that's that whole thing with sleep apnea. So that's another part of this year that's been kind of interesting. But related to that, another health thing this year that I've been working on is I've been working on losing weight. Now, I know I had gained some weight, like sort of over the past few years, but a couple things sort of hit me with the fact that I really needed to lose some weight. So for one, the sleep apnea thing. So sleep apnea has like various causes, but I know, and I've talked about this a lot on stream, so sorry if this is something you've heard before. My dad actually also had sleep apnea. He had severe sleep apnea, but his sleep apnea seemingly was largely due to his weight. And when he lost weight, his sleep apnea got a lot better. And I think that it's kind of the same for me. So that was one thing that made me realize that I needed to lose some weight, was sleep apnea. And also, like, I was snoring more and stuff, which is another thing related to like, you weigh more, you're gonna snore more, which is like a sleep apnea thing. Snoring is not always caused by sleep apnea, but it's a big sign of it. So anyway, that was one thing. But also, the initial factor in making me realize that I needed to lose some weight was, it's kind of a weird story, but my mom and I went to the gun range, and I asked my mom to take a video of me shooting my rifle because I wanted to send it to my girlfriend. She hadn't seen me shoot my rifle before. And as I watched the video back that my mom had taken, I realized that, like, you could see, like, curvature to me, and I was like, oh my god, I am massive. So okay, I'm not like actually massive, but when I had the sleep apnea stuff start, I like actually like measured my weight and my BMI and stuff and realized that, dang, like I was almost obese, definitely overweight. So I wanted to work on my weight, and also I think I was, part of my stomach issues was just like overeating. I think I was just eating a lot, like way too much all the time. So I haven't really like truly been dieting or like exercising, but I've just been trying to watch how much I eat a lot more. And so I've cut down how much I eat for like lunch and breakfast a lot. I still have pretty big dinners, but lunch and breakfast I've cut like into like half or a third of what I was eating, and my stomach feels a lot better. And I think I've lost about 12 pounds. It's kind of weird because like the scale at home that I have and the scale at the doctor's office are like calibrated differently, I think. Because like, long story short, I went to the doctor's office one time and it said I was one weight, and then at home it said I was another. And then anyway, I'm pretty sure I've lost about 12 pounds so far in a relatively short amount of time by just watching how much I'm eating. And so that's good. And I want to lose like about 30 more pounds, and then I will be like at like the perfect BMI. And I know BMI is not like perfect measurement, but I want to lose about that weight, so that way I'm about what it is, so that way hopefully I'm feeling about better. So aside from health stuff related to the channel, I've been improving my setup a little bit. I've organized my desk. As I said, I've been trying to sort of organize everything in my life, and my desk is way more organized than it once was. I also sort of have like a new desk setup. I've got like well, I mean, the Mac Studio's been here for a while, but I've got a nice computer. I've got a nice monitor. I got some speakers from my computer, actually, that I got from an old computer that was still sealed that one of my family members had. It's a whole story, but anyway, so I've improved my setup a little bit. I also have a new PC, which is not like my recording or streaming PC, but I got a gaming PC, and I talked about it a little bit on stream, but long story short, through my job, I got this, like, it would have been like a killer PC back in like 2017. 2013, but given that most of what I play is from around that era, this is like perfect for me. So it has a i7, I don't remember which gen it is, and it's got a GTX 1080 Ti. It started out as like a CyberPower PC pre-built, but then I changed some of the parts around. It had a water cooler in it, and I don't really like water cooling. I don't trust liquids near my electronics, so I replaced that with like a traditional fan setup, and also replaced the hard drive and stuff in it. So kind of modified it a little bit myself, which was cool. It was a cool learning experience. Wasn't that hard to do actually. But anyway, that thing is awesome. I can play like all of the games that I would want to play on PC on there. And then also kind of not really related to the channel, but related to like video games. I've been going to arcades a lot lately, which I think has been really good for me in multiple ways, because for one, made me realize how much fun arcades are. For two, has been good for me to trying to like get up and out of the house and moving, even if it's just walking around an arcade. For three, has made me realize how much I like collectible games. I really like Injustice and Marvel. There's like fighting games for it's Injustice and Marvel Contest of Champions, fighting games that give you cards that you can scan to play as certain characters. And then also Naruto Emblem Battle. I just recently found out that Naruto Emblem Battle is in my area. The first time I played it was at a round 1 that's pretty far away from me. And I've noticed that like, I think Walmarts are kind of starting to get Naruto Emblem Battle. Don't know why, but I mean, I'm not complaining. That one, I really, really like that game. It's pretty simple, but it's a lot of fun. There's some cool strategy to it. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. And I've been going to, there's a casino nearby. I've gone to that a couple times, and I'm not going to spend that much time talking about that, because I know that like talking about casinos is kind of a weird subject to get into, because like there's the whole gambling addiction thing, and like it's hard to talk about that kind of thing without like, I don't know, without usually making somebody upset. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but that's been kind of interesting too, because in a lot of ways, slot machines and stuff like that are kind of video games. I don't want to oversimplify it. Like, you know, if you're going to go to a casino, make sure that you stay within your limits and everything. I think it's kind of important to put a precautionary note on that. But yeah, so I'm not going to say any more about that though, because like, I know it's like a little bit of a controversial topic. I know this video is almost like 20 minutes long, but I still have a lot more to talk about. So stick with me if you want to know about the future of the channel and just like what's going on in my life. So I kind of got ahead of what I have written down in my notes here, but the next like bullet point I had for myself was almost done catching up with everything. I kind of talked about that a little bit, but yeah, I've been working on catching up on a lot of shows and stuff, and I'm almost done with that. I also have written down to talk about CPAP possibly, but I already talked about that too. But speaking of health things, and this is actually where I was saying I was going to talk about getting a sore throat again, alongside figuring out the sleep apnea and sleep stuff, I have made an appointment to go see a ear, nose, and throat specialist. And this is something you may have also heard me complain about a lot on the channel, is that like, I'm always complaining about my sinuses. I'm not sure, but I feel like something is wrong with my nose. I've always had issues with my sinuses. I seem to get sinus infections a lot. I always seem to get really sick with like things that don't always make other people really sick. And in general, like I literally can't blow my nose. Like, that sounds really weird. Throughout my entire life, people are like, why don't you just blow your nose when your nose is stuffy? And I'm like, I try, and I literally cannot blow my nose properly. Which, yeah, I don't even know how to explain that any more than just that I have tried numerous times to blow my nose, and whenever I am sick or otherwise stuffy, I genuinely cannot get my nose to work correctly. So long story short, I am going to go see an ear, nose, and throat specialist about that. I have a feeling something might be like misshapen, especially because it's specifically the right hand side of my sinuses that always seems to get, like, if I get sinus infections, that's where they seem to start and stuff. So I don't know what's going on up there, if it's misshapen, if I have like some sort of long lasting fungal infection or something. There's a whole bunch of different possibilities. But yeah, that brings me to the thing I was saying about the sore throat thing. That was actually how I got the ear, nose, throat specialist appointment. I don't know what was going on in my throat this week. It was like kind of sore, but not that sore, and like kind of red, but not that red. So, and I didn't really feel sick, so I ended up going to my doctor. She wasn't really that concerned, said that I maybe had like a virus or something that I had caught, but that it wasn't anything that really needed like treatment. But then in the process, I brought up the other stuff, and so there we go, got my specialist appointment. So hopefully that works out, and hopefully I can finally get my nose fixed, if it's possible to fix it. So back to things related to the channel though, and not real life. I was talking about my setup a second ago. There's a couple other improvements that I'd like to make to my setup. So for one that I'd really like to make soon is I'd really like to buy an upscaler. I'm thinking about getting a retro tank because it would make it really easy for me to stream older consoles. And if I'm gonna do more streams in the future, I have some ideas for streams that specifically involve older consoles. And there's not really a way for me to easily stream older consoles right now with my current setup. And if I get a retro tank or some other sort of upscaler, it'll be easier for me to record from older consoles, and in theory they could look better if I do them that way and stuff. So I'd like to do that soon, but those are kind of expensive, so I don't really know when. Also, I might get a new microphone at some point, but mine still works fine, so I'm not that worried about it. But just like the more that I listen to stuff, I guess sometimes this microphone sounds kind of tinny compared to other microphones. So I've been considering trying to get like a more professional mic. Not that the Blue Yeti is not professional, but just something that sounds even better. Actually, a last minute setup thing that literally happened last night. I don't even have notes for this. I need to buy a new TV. My TV last night exploded. I'm not even entirely joking about that. I was watching Netflix. I was trying to catch up on some of the shows that I've been talking about, and I heard this pop sound, and it was loud enough, and I am so trained enough from like screwing around with electronics that I'm always afraid something's gonna explode on me that I actually like ducked. And when I came up from my duck, I realized, like, I kind of looked around. At first I thought like maybe I had tripped a breaker or something, or I had tripped a fuse in like a power strip or something. And I looked around my room and I was like, no, everything's fine. That my PlayStation's on, my phone is charging, my TV is not on though. And so unplugged everything, tried to plug just the TV in, and sure enough, TV's dead. So a capacitor or something must have blown in it, and now I need to buy a new TV. It kind of sucks because I've not had that TV for that long, and I did like that TV. And the thing is, like, it's not been enough time now where I can like actually get like an upgrade for it. Cause like I was thinking like, you know, maybe I could get an 8K TV, but no, those are still like over $1,000. And then I was like, well, maybe I could get a TV that can do 120 frames per second, but then no, those are still like expensive. So effectively I'm just going to be getting the same TV again, but I figured I would mention in this video because it just happened, and why not? So jumping to another topic related to the channel, something that I've been considering and I wanted to mention in this video, but I'm going to make a separate video on it if I actually go through with it, is I've been considering moving my streams over to Twitch. So I know that I kind of jump back and forth between if I'm making videos or if I'm streaming. Usually like if I'm more stressed, I tend to stream more because streaming is easier for me at least. But long story short, I've just been thinking that like Twitch seems like it might just be a better spot for my streams because like Twitch is made for streaming video games, whereas YouTube is home of a lot of different types of content, and YouTube also doesn't really seem to promote streams that much as it promotes videos. When I watch YouTube myself, I've almost never had a stream suggested to me instead of a video, and in general, just numbers for streams are a lot higher on Twitch. Also, the way that Twitch is set up, where it's like set up by game categories, like you can search by game categories and stuff, and like specifically like watch people playing certain games. I think that would kind of help promote some of the stream that I would want to do because I play games that I don't think that many other people stream, and so that can be kind of helpful sometimes because if you're looking through the stream categories, like the different games that are being played, and then you see that somebody's streaming a game that nobody else is streaming, you know, you might be like, oh, what are they playing? So that's another thing. And lastly, a lot of the times my streams on YouTube, a lot of the views on my streams on YouTube are not actually from the stream live. Not that many people watch the streams live on YouTube, but they will watch the streams afterwards. Like a lot of the views on them are in the archived version afterwards. So if I were to stream on Twitch, I could still upload the archives of them to YouTube. And then since most of the people that are watching my streams on YouTube are watching them after the fact anyway, they would still be able to do that without really losing anything if the stream was originally on Twitch. But anyway, I'm still not totally sure about it, and there's also more consideration than that, so we'll see. I just figured I would mention it in this video while I'm talking about like future stuff. In terms of future stuff on the channel in general though, I have so many video ideas. Like, I am not just going to be doing streaming. Like, I know that I've been doing a lot of streams lately, but that's just because, like I said, I had a lot of stuff going on in real life, and streams are easier for me to do when I'm stressed or busy. So I have a ton of video ideas, though. I'd really, really want to do some more playthroughs. I haven't done a playthrough in a while, and I really want to do those because they're pretty easy to make and they're kind of fun to do. And also, the Wulf's Playthroughs channel has grown, like, quite a bit without me really doing anything on it, so I think that's another thing to consider, too. Like, it's got, like, 61 subscribers right now, and I've not actually done down that much on it. So I've got a couple of games that I want to maybe do a playthrough of. And also, now that I have a PC that can actually play a lot of games, I've been thinking about it could be interesting to do some playthroughs of like mods for different games. There's a handful of games that I know have like story mods and stuff, like Left 4 Dead, for example. I've done a playthrough of base campaigns in Left 4 Dead on Xbox, but there's also a bunch of mod campaigns, like custom campaigns for Left 4 Dead, and I can do playthroughs of those, things like that. I watch a lot of YouTubers and streamers who do like specifically cover mods of games, and so I think that's kind of an area that I would like to explore a little bit too. And just in general, I've bought so much stuff that I could and want to make videos about. So I have a lot of ideas. Hopefully I'll be able to work on some soon. And then the last thing on my list of stuff to talk about in this video is back to real life stuff. So I've been talking about this on stream a lot lately too, but there's a chance that I might be trying to get a different job / moving. They kind of go hand in hand. Long story short, with my current job, I feel like I'm not ever actually going to be able to make enough money to live in the area that I live in right now without relying on my family, because the area that I live in right now, I moved here before the pandemic, like right before the pandemic, but then when the pandemic happened, it's one of those places that became like a pandemic hotspot. Like when everybody was getting remote jobs and stuff and could move anywhere in the country, tons of people moved here for some reason. And I mean, I get it. I like living here. It's a nice place to live, but like too many people have moved here. And so housing prices and stuff are just insane. Prices on everything here are insane right now. And I've just, like, as I've researched it and stuff, I've just realized that I literally cannot afford to live here, and that I can't even just go get a better job because the job market here is so insanely competitive. I mean, job market sucks like all over the world, but the job market in this area is so insanely competitive, especially because so many people have moved here, that like I have applied to other jobs and I literally never hear anything back. And honestly, like, I'm not really sure how to explain this last part because I don't want to be offensive and I don't want to stereotype people, but I feel like there's been a lot of rich but kind of strange people that have moved to this area too, and that has led to a lot of these just like kind of just bland businesses popping up and kind of pushing out like the interesting stuff that was here before. If you've seen the memes before about like, we're just two bros with a dream, and then it's actually just like a $20 burger restaurant, there's been a lot of that actually happening in this area, and it's cool at first, you know, every now and again you want a $20 burger, but also it's like when all these places are popping up and all these people are moving in with these kind of bad business ideas, buying out properties from actual like cool businesses and stuff, like it just, I don't know, it really kind of ruins the vibe of an area, and I'm not really a fan of that. So that's another thing that has made me kind of consider like maybe I need to scoot out of here. So long story short, I feel like I kind of have two options here, and both of them revolve around improving like my job situation. So one is just to find, well, I guess three options maybe. One is to find a job somewhere else that is actually affordable. Two is to find a job in this area that is higher paying and then would make it easier to live here. Or three, convince the management at my current job to give me something that is cooler and higher paying, because I'm bored out of my mind at my job too in a lot of ways. Like, it's not a bad job, but I don't do anything. Like, all I do is put things in alphabetical order all day. And the thing is, that is one, I think, kind of real possibility, though, is that, like, I've heard, it's hard to talk about without explaining what my job actually is, but I also don't really want to do that because, like, personal, like, privacy stuff. But long story short, there's, like, a corporate aspect to my job, and the corporate jobs are the jobs that seem more like the things that I would like. And from what I understand from my coworkers, a lot of the jobs that exist in the corporate realm of the company that I work for are things that people just sort of came up with and suggested to the upper management, hey, we should give this a try and you should let me do it. And I think maybe I could come up with something and suggest it to upper management, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, we'll try that. But I don't know for sure. So I'm not entirely sure. Like, if I do look at jobs in other areas, I don't really know where I'll go, because the thing is, I do like living where I live. So I've considered maybe looking into, there's like a handful of cities in the state that I live in that like I could possibly move to and, you know, still have the benefits of living rurally but not that far from a bigger city. Some of the other cities are not as insanely expensive as the one that I work in currently, so that's a possibility. I've also considered moving west. I live in just kind of the south of the US right now, and there's some states out west though that are similar in terms of like laws, taxes, things like that the state that I live in now that I think I would enjoy. And also like warm climate. I really would like to stay somewhere with a warm climate. There's a possibility though, I have considered looking at jobs in other countries too, but that's not ever that easy. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about how easy it is to get jobs in other countries as an American. As somebody who has already dealt with the whole visa process for going to grad school in the UK, let me just tell you, the American passport is very strong for vacations, but is not very strong for just moving to other countries. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So that's been a about 30-minute update video, which is actually about how long I thought this video would end up being. So, you know, we're within constraints. Thank you guys for 900 subscribers. I am looking forward to 1,000 eventually, and hopefully I'll have some cool I will have some cool stuff for that. Make sure to keep an eye on the channel. I've got a lot of stuff on the way, and as I talked about in this video, been doing a lot of stuff in real life too, and trying to just kind of, like I said, check off stuff on all of my to-do lists so that way I can focus more on like things for this, and like I'd like to do some writing and just some other creative stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in other stuff in the future, and bye-bye.